Hi, I'm Jenny. I'm known as the Queen of Being Seen because I coach and train corporates, people, and business owners with ways to be out there and visible so that they are seen, that they stand out, and that they're taken seriously. So, my aim is to have you more visible with impact, and for those of you that need to, in a way that makes you money. So, in this video, I'm going to be answering a question that somebody asked me a little bit earlier today, actually. So I thought, while it's fresh in my mind, I'm going to hop on here and answer this question. So they asked me this: Jenny, how am I visible, or how should I be visible without being annoying? This is a very interesting question. So, given that I work with corporates, given that I work with business owners, and I, work with people in between, I'm going to kind of give you three answers to this question. So, how to be visible without being annoying. So, the first context, let's say that you work within a corporation, within a company, and your visibility and your way of putting yourself out there is so that you can maybe achieve promotion, maybe be more visible within the business, even maybe be more visible in your industry. And let's just say that you're a business owner. Maybe you're a founder of a business, so you have a team of people that help you. But for many of my business owners, one of the things that they slightly struggle with is that they wear lots of hats, spin lots of plates. So they are the salesperson, they are the accountant, they're the marketing person, they're the person who has to do all of their promotion, they're often the person that writes a lot of their own copy, creates content, they do a gazillion things. And for some of the other people who are just looking at ways to be more visible, maybe they've been told by somebody that they're too shy, too quiet, don't speak up enough in meetings, don't put themselves out there in the way they know they could, or there's a little thin slice of you who are really great at what you do and you want to get out there. I'm going to answer this question really for all of you. But there's three things to think about when you are being out there visible and you're making a splash, you're making a wave. So the first thing is, if you work in a corporate or for a corporate in a company, they will have such things as brand guidelines. These are ways for you to be when you're representing that company. So the first thing to remember is, regardless of how creative you are, regardless of how many ideas you have, it's always a good idea just to check with the company that you work with that it's okay for you to post on their behalf in the first place, and okay for you to share or create content in a way that you might want to check with their marketing team first. Okay. So, how do you do that without being annoying? How do you do that if you're a founder without being annoying? So, three things to think about. First thing is, be visible as you. Okay. Now, I've often said, be yourself, everyone else is taken. I think it was Coco Chanel who might have said that originally, but it's the truth. If I came on here and tried to be anything other than me, I would appear starchy. So, for example, every single video that I create, I normally write a few words to keep me on track, but I don't write scripts. Now, if you work for a corporate, maybe the only types of videos they will ever release has had the marketing team write you a script. So, from the start, if I started speaking to you doing this, you would say, Jenny, are you reading this? It's really hard for me to do that with my head and concentrate. But you'd be wondering, Jenny, are you reading that? Are you reciting that? Are you trying to remember that? Are you trying to kind of read it off a teleprompter or a screen? If your company require you to create videos, and normally there might not be videos like this, they might be presentations in Teams meetings, they might be presentations for the rest of the company. It could be that you have some of your team that are remote. You will have to kind of show up and be visible in a way that might not feel like you. So the thing to do before you even hit record on that camera is to get into or get back into being you. So if you're a dancey sort of person, if you've got a lot of energy, harness that energy and use it for the video. If you're like me, very expressive and speak with your hands, don't try not to move your hands. There's a really old video on my YouTube channel of me from, I reckon, about 16 years ago, where I was working with somebody. They had a teleprompter and they stopped recording and said, Jenny, I'm going to do this outside your hands. If you've got to use your hands, you can only move them between here and here. So for the rest of the video, those people that knew me ended up observing me talking and kind of being a bit like this. I looked a little bit robotic and a bit stoic. So I guess what I'm saying is, whether you're a business owner, whether you work for a corporate, or whether you're a person that's just trying to maybe build up your confidence, get yourself more out there and be more visible, know who you are. This is the reason why you'll always hear me say visibility is an inside job. So know who you are, be who you are, and appear. Now, I appreciate for you business owners, you're probably thinking, so what do I do? Now, this is very interesting because a majority of the business owners that I work with and that I speak to worry about appearing unprofessional. So maybe they've looked at a reel or something on TikTok and like the way that someone's like dancing and really getting into the music. So they think, I really love that. I'm going to do that too. But then all of a sudden they're dancing. They feel a bit wooden. They feel a bit stiff. They don't feel like themselves. If you admire somebody doing it, but that is not you, again, be more you, do more you. So if you are a business owner and you're looking at creating content, or a founder, there will be 4 things that you can do, and you might do a couple of them more than you do the others. So one of them might be, you might be the person that just dives in and just does it on the hoof. You're quite happy to do that. In fact, you are quite confident on camera. Your issue is you've got so much information going on in your head, you don't know which bit to pull out first. Or you might be somebody that has to think about a few ideas or an idea and then reflect on it, sleep on it, roll it around your brain and your tongue, and then go for it. You might be somebody who is very heavy on the theory, the facts, the figures. It might be that your industry demands that of you. Either way, you might have to present lots of theory, lots of graphs, lots of information that can be dense to the person receiving it. There's a different way for you. And then there'll be some of you that are quite pragmatic in your approach. And this means that anything that you share on video, whether it's content creation or something else, you want people to scoop it up, to sling it over their shoulder and to run with it and at least try it out. And you're probably quite keen to hear how they're doing. Now, those are the 4 main styles that people have of sharing information. None of them are right or wrong, good or bad, better than the other. They're just different. So I guess the first thing is knowing your style. And as I work with people quite closely, I like to kind of be in partnership. I roll my sleeves up. And this is one of the first things that I will do. Find out where you are maybe in that quadrant so that we can work with your preferred style and then harness maybe some of the other styles that you might not have used as you've been putting yourself out there and being visible. And for those of you who are somewhere in the middle, maybe you're like, Jenny, I just want to get myself out there. Maybe you want to get yourself out there on video. Maybe you want to do more public speaking. Maybe you want to, speak up in meetings. Maybe you would like to host the Teams meeting and do that on video. Either way, have some bullet points of things you want to cover. I am not a fan of scripts at all, because when you are following a script and you fall off the script, it's hard to get back on again in a room full of people, in a screen where you've pressed record or anywhere else. So For you, it's all about having your bullet points and following them along. So you'll notice on this video that I look down every now and then. Well, there's two reasons for that. I've got a whole book of questions that people have asked me. There's like loads of them in there, and I've probably got another 5 of those down there. I've got a bag of tricks, as I call them, in there where people have asked me questions and I've written them down, and I'm going to be sharing with you these with you on the channel. All about visibility, how you can get yourself out there and stand out. But the thing that I do is I'll occasionally look down and I'll look back to you. There's 101 reasons why I do that. Perhaps that's maybe one for another video. Jenny, why do you sometimes look down and then look at us? What I don't do is I don't try and be like a news presenter or a TV presenter. I don't try and change how I speak or how I sound. And I don't try to be something a little bit different, because then you've got that rolling around in your head as well as putting yourself out there on video. I hope this has been helpful in some way to you. And my notes tell me that I need to remind you to subscribe to this channel. Now, why might I ask you to do that? So that every time a new video pops up, and there's going to be quite a lot of them coming at you, that you can just come back here and see what's next, have a look, see if you like it, have a watch, and I hope actually put it into effect. Or you might be watching this and think, I know someone who needs to hear this. So again, share it with them. And ask them to subscribe, and if they've watched this video, maybe they subscribe and share it on too. But more than anything, come back, because visibility, or your visibility, matters to me, and your voice matters. Whether you do that on video, whether you want to be taken seriously, whether you want to speak more or speak better publicly, or whether you just want to be out there and more visible than you are right now, this channel's for you. I'm Jenny. I'm known as the Queen of Being Seen, because you being seen and you being heard is why I get out of bed in the mornings. Come back and watch my next video. Bye for now.